Today I have my 2005 Grand Caravan that the horn is not working. So I'm going to walk you through how I troubleshoot the problem. I'm still in the process of troubleshooting, and I want to show you what I've done thus far to help you if you have the same problem. So again, it's 2005 Dodge Caravan. Some of the things we're going to be looking at. We have our fuse box and relay box up top here. I'm going to be showing you this relay. We're going to listen to it, make sure it's working properly. We're going to remove this headlight assembly because the horn is actually sitting right underneath it. So I have three bolts I'm going to be taking out right here, and once we pull that out, you're going to see the horn and the electrical connector that we have to remove. I'll also show you inside here is the inner fender well, and I'll be pulling that out. Very easy to do, but once that's out of the way, you're going to see right in front of me is where the horn actually is in case we have to replace it. So with that, we'll get started, and please like and subscribe if this helps you out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to check out this relay. I'm going to go in the vehicle, I'm going to hit the horn button and see if this relay is clicking. So you can hear that clicking. That's telling me that the horn button works and the circuitry up to it. So if I show you this wiring diagram, what I've done is by hitting the horn switch through the clock spring up through the front control module to the relay. So we know I have power to the relay, so this side of the diagram is good. Now I have to focus on the wiring to the horn or the ground, and that's what we're going to do next. Here's a better picture of the wiring diagram. Again, the horn switch at the steering wheel, through the clock spring, through the front control module, over to the relay which we tested, to the horn, and then black orange wire to the ground point, G102. When we look at the ground distribution diagram, G102 is on the support. So here's the lower rad support right here. Right above it is G102. It's very difficult to get to with the radiator in. We're going to remove the headlight assembly. Once I do that, you're going to see where the horn is located. Okay, now my wife Sherry is filming for me. Thank you, Sherry, for helping. So down here is the horn. Now I've been troubleshooting, so I've already disconnected the wiring, but I'll show you that because that's important. So this is the connector that goes to the horn. It's easiest to get through the top here. This is a little safety that you're going to have to pull back. When this is engaged, that red safety will be forward, and I'm having a hard time doing it now, and I don't want to break it. But I had to take a screwdriver, I pushed the safety back, I pushed down on this release, and I pulled the connector out. Cut. So that's disconnected. I'll reach down in there, squeeze the tab, and pull. Okay, next thing we're going to do is I stuck my test light in the green wire, and I'm connected to battery negative. So when I go hit the horn switch, we want to see this light light up. That'll tell me I have power to the horn switch. So I'm going to hit the horn switch. Am I getting light? Okay, so what that's telling me is I have power all the way to the horn. I probably have either a bad horn or bad ground, Okay, so now I have my test light and I have the connector for the horn. So I'm on battery positive and I have a good bulb. So I want to see if I have a good ground. So the next thing I do is I take the horn connector, my black wire with the looks like a white or yellow trace is my ground. See if I can get a light, and I cannot. So that tells me I may have a problem with my ground. So we're going to troubleshoot that a little further. Just make sure so I am still connected to battery positive, but I cannot get a good ground signal. So that's one area we're going to troubleshoot. I also am going to pull the horn out. It's just this one bolt from underneath, and I'll take that horn, I'll bring it up here, and we'll make two connections, see if the horn is actually working. But right now it looks like we got a potential bad ground. The other thing we need to remove is this inner fender well. So it has these little plastic retainers. So there's one here, one here. Just use one of these removal tools. I already took them out. And you may have two screws that are through the bumper into this inner fender. I've already taken those out, put it out there so I don't lose it. And this is pretty easy, just pull out, hold it back. Now if you look where my wife is pointing, you'll see the horn assembly. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the horn down just to test it. There's only one bolt that holds it in. You need a long extension and a 13mm socket. I did put some penetrating oil on this last night because there's a lot of rust up in there.
Is it going to fall on you?
No, it's not going to fall. Okay, there's the horn assembly. I'm just going to try the horn since this is an 05. So I have a battery jumper from the battery to the where the green and red wire was, and then I got a test light to battery negative. So my test light's good. We're going to see if this horn blows. Okay, I'm not getting, I don't know if I have enough current going through, but the windings are good. So I'm not getting any noise, and I don't know if it's because I'm not pushing enough current or what the problem is. And I also have a bad, seems like I have a bad ground. So next, rather than strip away the wiring, I back probed the ground wire with a T-pin. My wife got these at Walmart. They're fairly inexpensive. So I have a jumper wire from the T-pin straight to the negative battery post, and we're going to hit the horn switch, and if this works, we know we definitely have a bad ground wire, and we'll have to troubleshoot that further. Ready, dear? Okay, so definitely have a bad ground, horn's good. Now I got two options: figure out where my ground wire is broken, or do like I did with this turn signal and just splice in a wire to a new ground, which I probably will do because it's going to be the quicker fix. And when I do this, I take some JB weld, I splice the insulation away, and I wrap the new copper wire, I'll show you that, around the existing wiring, and then I put JB weld around to make waterproof insulation. And this has worked well for a couple years on this turn signal. I'm sure it'll do the same with this horn. Of course, the proper fix is follow the ground wire and find out if it's broken, corroded, or what. But this, I'm underneath the vehicle. Here's the forward motor mount, lower rad support, and right above me is the coolant overflow tank. Forward of that, right there, is that ground point. It's very difficult to access with the radiator in. So that's why I'm going to do that repair from up top. Hopefully you can see that. Out of focus. And there is a black wire. Looks like a red trace though. But our wires, there's multiple wires in there. Ours is a black wire. So here's my black. Oh, interesting, because there it looks red, and here it's yellow. At the ground point, down it, I was showing you underneath, it was black with a red trace. But up here, there's a yellow trace, so that's interesting. Anyway, so it's difficult to get at from underneath, so I'm going to peel some insulation back, and I'm going to splice this into this ground point that I made right here. So this is my horn connector. This is the ground wire that I spliced back or peeled back the insulation, exposed the copper wire. So now my plan is to take this new ground, which I'll show you, but I'm going to take this wire through the stranded wire. I'm going to wrap this all together. I mixed up some JB Weld right here. I'm going to apply this JB Weld so that now we have a watertight insulation. This will take a good 4 hours to harden, but what the nice thing about this is it's going to keep the moisture out of that splice. And I'm very liberal with this, making sure I get plenty of JB Weld on there. And what I'll do is I'll re-inspect it after it hardens. If I need to put another coat on, I will. Okay, so we're going to let that go now. So that wire goes to this eyelet, which also connects to my parking light ground. And all those are going to go right here. And I got a bolt like this. I'm going to attach that now, and that will be my new ground, and my horn will work. So once we have everything connected up, we'll do a final test. But that's a quick way to repair that ground without actually going underneath, pulling the radiator out, and getting better access. So our ground connector is connected to the body. One note, if you do care about your car, put some tape down so you don't get some JB Weld on your car. I reconnected the connector to the horn. I'm going to move the safety forward. Okay, and now we're going to test it and make sure the horn works. Alright, so now we're going to test the horn. Works. So I hope this helped you out. Like I said, the proper fix is pulling that radiator out, reconnecting that ground down at the radiator, at the frame. But this was an easier solution. Because this vehicle is so old, I didn't want to dig into all the other work, so this made sense for me to get it back on the road safely. Hope it helped you out. Again, like and subscribe. Thanks again. With a T-pin my wife got me at Walmart. So that's in where the ground is. I ran this jumper from the T-pin straight up to the ground. I'm gonna hit the horn switch and see if the horn works. If it does, then I know I definitely have a bad ground.